All right, let's rock.
One small step for improvers everywhere. Welcome to Just a Recap, folks. It's week 2 of High School Jesters 12th season, and it's all virtual again, like I'm virtually on the moon, because all of you guys seemed to do a good job with Kopy's challenge last week, and you stood up and you performed your improv. You took one small step for yourselves, but a giant leap for the league. Congratulations, kiddos. Kopy, I heard everybody stood up this week. What do you have to say?
Yeah, there was definitely some people on their feet that were not the week prior. So, and I do think that is bleeding over into this week too, because of the schools that had bye weeks and that kind of thing. So I'm already seeing that a little bit rolling into week 3 as teams are getting ready. So I hope that keeps going, and some teams have more students and so on.
Yeah, use your bodies and your energy, folks. Get on up and play. Glad that you're off to a stronger start on that in week 2. And Kopy, let's just jump right into it, because we know you're hard at work recording hours and hours of content on top of what we're doing for you. So let's jump right into shows from a hat.
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right, buddy. Your first show of the week was a doozy. How about Burkhardt and Green Valley High School?
Last week when we were talking, it wasn't a thought because this is all so new, but there were 6 schools that didn't perform last week because of byes.
Right.
So Burkhardt's one of them. So we had 6 brand new schools to give it their first show shot. I was excited for Burkhardt. Now, here's the neat thing that no one knows about is that Burkhardt actually filmed their show as a show that got cut up and edited into our show.
Okay.
So in talking to Marley about it, Marley said like them actually going through the steps like it was a show is what motivated them and like made them excited and happy to be together. And if you watch them like that, they were just happy. They were just happy to be laughing and doing games together. That was very, very clear and evident, especially with Burkhardt and how confident and just the way that they think about things.
Yeah.
And then Green Valley, man, 2 weeks in a row of just solid work. Of just really good effort putting it out there.
We're fans of the Gators this year for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Kiana in her 4th year, how strong Kiana's doing it. And then with her new teammates around her. So it's they had a couple of strong ones the past couple of years with Kiana, with Justice getting the most improved nod and whatnot. Yeah. So it's cool to see 2 weeks of just really strong Green Valley.
Yeah. Clearly, Green Valley's program is working in the right direction, and Coach Cameron finally finding his way back to his alma mater. That's a cool story this year, and I'm glad that Green Valley as a whole is growing. I'm excited for when we match up later this year. Green Valley and Del Sol will be fun.
Oh,
ready to move on to our next school?
Let's rock.
All right, buddy. Let's see. This one is going to be how about Desert Pines and the Wildcard Team this week? What did they look like?
Well, here you go. Another bye team with Desert Pines. They had a bye the first week.
Right.
Gosh, man, this show, this is like stop watching the recap and go watch the show kind of message.
Wow. Awesome to hear.
For some people, yeah, who still don't know what the wildcard team is, the wildcard team was just a mathematical solution for the league. So because we're online, I like to take advantage of opportunities. I will do the weirdest stuff if I have an opportunity to do it. And that's kind of what the wildcard team was. So it's just kind of these random hodgepodge ideas. And each week you're going to get something fun and new and different for the wildcard. This week, I decided to pick 4 students who I thought played characters better than any other 4 students I could think of. In our league history. And I picked these 4 going, man, yeah, they really could do anything. So I picked Brandon Green, who was our 2010 MVP, known as Greenie throughout the league. I picked Samantha Elton, 2012 MVP. I picked Cameron Coleman, who was our only 2-time MVP, 2014 and 15. And then I picked Emmy Robinson, our 2-time MVP nominee, who's currently at Durango in her 4th year as a senior.
Wow.
So Emmy has a little bit of practice online this year, but the other 3 haven't had any. So, I mean, I basically just explained the games to them verbally and they just did it.
Right.
And Emmy didn't know some of the games. Like they just did it, and just masterful, man. So good. And to even complement that, Desert Pines was a rock star. Like it was so cool to see. And we're filming this stuff on our own. We don't know what the other team's doing, right? So just to see how strong that was, really good. Everyone stop and watch it.
What's a game that really stood out from the show from each team, if you can pick one?
Dating app for Desert Pines for sure.
Okay.
Really strong, really funny. Alex had a perfect way to end that game. Coach Alex from Desert Pines. And then a game that just isn't appreciated anymore, that the old veteran students from the Wildcard team this week was kind of upset about, but forward reverse. Forward reverse.
Yes, of course.
Anyone that knows Greeny knows that he makes forward reverse the best game you've ever seen.
Right.
And then Sam and Cameron are no slouches. Emmy had never played it before. So not only did she play it for her first time, she started the game with them. It was Greeny and Emmy to start. Just if you want to see a game just really done well, a game that you probably haven't seen done that well before, go watch Forward Reverse by the Wildcard team.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Anytime Greeny touches, guys, this is real. Anytime Greeny touches forward reverse, it's the game of the night. So go check that out and enjoy it. Yep. Let's move right along to our next matchup. This one is going to be, the first one of the day, Basic and Legacy, according to what I have here.
Yep. Two teams that do good work and maybe fly under the radar because of they're not flashy and they don't need to be. Basic is just, I don't know if any coaches are working harder than, and not, I'm not contesting you, Warren, but I don't know if any coaches are working harder than Cassie and Trevor. I get more calls and emails and 1 a.m. text messages from them than anybody, just because they're already working on week 8. They're like, that's where they are in their preparing process.
Wow.
So that, I mean, that's Basic wants it, man. And then Legacy on the other side, just in the past few years, just keeps pulling out these little fun teams to where I gave them a challenge going into week 3 where that was my first angry coach text, was from Justin just the other day. Like, why are you challenging me to this?
Right.
So they had a fun one together again.
What game was that you challenged him to that he had to kind of navigate through?
That's going into week 3. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week, but Balladeer. Okay.
Gotcha.
Balladeer is a rapping game.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll talk about that next week, but sure. For this week, I love what Alex does. I feel Alex is such a good compliment to Jordan on Legacy. Basic's just full of veterans. That's who they are, and they just want to keep getting better. I think I've talked to Cassie and Trevor at Basic about it. I think Maya was a big key to how they improved this year for Basic.
Yeah.
So if that's where a little bit of their energy is going to start going, is building up Maya to allow them to just grow around that.
Oh, I'm so grateful you said that, because I stopped by with their practices a little bit, and while I've seen Jacob and Evan and Lily be themselves, there's something about Maya that really acts as their glue. And the more that I feel Maya is empowered to lead, the better I think the others are equipped to set that up. So yeah, like I'll say in front of the whole league, let's see what Maya does as the leader of that group. I would love to see her mentally approach that.
Agreed.
Yeah, super cool. I'm a fan of Basic, always have been. I'm super sad because this is Lily's last year and it's going to be an end of an era. Yeah. And I hope that the improv that they put out is indicative of all of the effort that they've put in over the years, Lily and her cohorts. So love that team. Yeah. Clark and our debuting team, I got it right this time. It's Shadow Ridge.
Yeah, Shadow Ridge had the first week bye, so this was their first week, and not just first week, but first ever for Shadow Ridge.
Right.
For anyone that might actually be watching this from Shadow Ridge, like, I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, welcome you. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy about everything that's happening. I'm happy about your new teacher, Miss McAmis. I'm happy that Miley is your coach. there's a very short list of people that I would have handed a school to in this pandemic situation that we're in, and Miley's definitely one of those. So I was so happy to get your videos, to talk to Miley about it, and to see what you guys did. So please, thank you, welcome. And I'm happy Clark was your first opponent, because they just seem to be like the perfect team to put in that situation.
Yeah.
Now from a show standpoint, I'm loving the chemistry that Clark's having right now. There's some comfort there that I don't know if it was always there with some of them. Mallow's new, and Mallow fits right in with that Clark vibe.
Okay.
They played a game of slideshow that actually really made me invested. And slideshow for me personally, just not a game that normally draws me in, but they did it. And then on the other side for Shadow Ridge, Bell. We got to start talking about some of these kids at Shadow Ridge. Bell could be a little Miley. Has a lot of Miley attitude.
Wow.
Not to say that Coach Miley has an attitude, but as a performer, we all have a swagger. Bell kind of has that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Anthiel, of course, funny. Anella, Aaliyah, welcome. So yeah, cool to see. I'm happy it happened.
A stalwart of our league that's been that's very ingrained in their culture, going up against the brand new school. It is a great welcoming party, so I'm sure that was a fun show. Go back and watch it. And yes, I wanted to lift my hat from above my eyes to look at Shadow Ridge in the eye and say, welcome. We are so happy to have you. It's awesome to have a new school, especially one coached by Miley, because Miley does a great job with the programs she's a part of. So it's great to just get more students involved. So welcome to the league. And I hope your first show was as fun and successful as you imagined it would be. We can't wait to see you in your next shows. Let's keep moving. And how about this one? Another team that took last week off, if I'm not mistaken, but you're probably going to correct me and I'm going to look stupid second week in a row. How about Arbor View and East Tech?
No buys on this one. Yeah, they both had a show last week.
I hide my face in shame.
You know what? Arbor View definitely was one that took my standing notes. So I noticed it right away. Even in the coin toss with Audrey, I immediately was happy. It's like, yes, here's dynamic. Here's what we want and need. We got little Ashton back this week. Ashton wasn't in the first show. Ashton was a Rookie of the Year honorable mention last year.
Right.
Just fun and goofy, and that kid is made for this league. Clear poster child. So happy with where Arbor View was at. And then on East Tech, Romeo's such a weirdo, man. Like Coach Romeo, like,
I mean that with all the love in the world, 100%.
Yeah, that I truly mean that. They played a game of Jeopardy where Romeo was me and he was Kopy, but like I wouldn't have been that version of me in a million years.
It's like Alex Trebek is a fish out of water, right? And it's
like,
I get it.
Whatever, and they're funny. Kylan, I was happy to see up there. Kylan was really funny last year in his first year, so I was happy to get him in that show. Paula back for her second week. It was fun. They were a good matchup. Like, I think going back and forth, I was like, man, I hope they can learn from each other. Like when they watch the show back and they can go, oh, I see what you did there, what you did here. I think there's something that they can learn from each other.
Yeah, that's a major goal this year. And I hope that we might touch on it in a Kopy's challenge in the future, but watching each other is such a big deal to help you improve your improv at this point, because we're all making it up on the spot and trying different things. Mm-hmm. Who knows how you commit might be better or different enough from the way another school commits to a bit. And it might pop your brain a little bit, open it up. So watch your improv shows, guys, and really try to take notes from each other. We're not competing here, especially in the early part of the season.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else to share on that one? Any highlight moment or anything?
You know what? I think I'm really happy with what Arbor View is doing. Yeah. I feel like they're in such the right track that, playoffs, obviously we got time. I don't want anyone to start going, man, what are we going to do in the playoffs?
Right.
But gosh, Arbor View is on track.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
They're gunning. They are definitely gunning.
They are
Here's
on track.
here's a school that I do know took a bye last week, so I'm feeling confident in calling out Northwest and Silverado.
Yep, very good. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, Northwest had the bye the week before, so they got in their first one. You got Isaiah clearly leading the charge in that one.
Yo.
For Northwest. Yep, Isaiah, if anyone remembers, won that antivirus video pageant we did over the summer. Really fun little goofy thing.
His editing skills frighten me.
Yep. But I mean, as a performer, just clearly led it. I think an unsung hero from that Northwest group, because they keep pulling out just talented performers, is Tati.
Oh.
I think at the end of the year there, when Kylie really came into her own as the most improved nominee, that
Yeah.
Tati was just right there with her and was also kind of pushing it. So Tati in this first show is just like, yeah, man, you're still going, like you're still pushing it. So it was cool to see Northwest in those modes. And then on Silverado, they met again. Like they got together physically and did it again. We cannot advertise you to do this. They did it. That's okay. But they played all 4 of their games in someone's living room. Don't know whose living room it was. But just fun to see them cracking up at each other. We all know the difference of being in the room and not being in the room. So that's cool. They edited a fun little intro. I don't know if anyone saw their Full House intro, but that was hilarious. Just down, and it made it into the actual cut of the show. So really
cool.
Pretty funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, go back and watch that to see schools literally doing what no other school is doing, and that's creating their own kind of sitcom sort of experience. So go and check that out. Give Silverado some love. They're really trying to do things that no other school's doing right now, and that's got to be a lot of fun just to see. Mm-hmm. I did want to ask, is the quality of the improv, and I know it's kind of putting Silverado out in a plate, but I'm curious, is the quality of improv with them being in person, is it tangibly better? Or like, do we want to even throw a word like that out to describe that kind of atmosphere?
Well, the biggest difference I'm noticing is that we aren't there with them. So I'm not on stage with them in a show. Coach Isaac isn't with them physically, you know what I mean? So that does play a factor. So where to stand and just those simple little things that we do as coaches and staff, it's not there. So I actually talked to them about that today. So I was in their practice today and talked about even just the aesthetics of it. So that's the biggest note for me.
And it's an amazing thing that I don't think you kiddos will realize after all this time, that there's a real thought process to the stage picture that we put together for you all. And that feeling of getting that center stage moment is hard to replicate without the stage. So cool notes that I'm sure Kopy shared with Silverado. And if you kids want to try to make sure your stage picture is solid and you're driving your own bus, let Kopy or another host like myself or Roman or Josh know, because we kind of get the method to the madness for sure.
It's a real thing. I mean, heck, that stuff is basically turned into why our cameras are on or off in certain points of games.
Right.
So, that's all a part of it.
And that's been an important part of the improv I've been watching too, is making sure if you're not doing anything or you're not really hoping that the audience will see you, turn off your camera. Big deal. Right. But that's a note for another day. What's not a note for another day is what I want to hear your thoughts were on ATEC and Del Sol. I bet that was a fun show.
Yeah, for sure. I think Del Sol was on complete fire for week 1. So my expectation was really high and they did not disappoint. ATEC too. I mean, ATEC had a really solid show facing, obviously you both faced other schools. So immediately that's where my eyes went on the schedule, was wanting to see what this one turned out. Yeah. So you got Max has been on the show before, right?
Yes. Yeah. Max's second year with me, his second overall show.
So ATEC, Coach Song got Jenica in Jenica's first show. Welcome Jackie back. Jackie didn't actually play last year. She played the year before, and then Nick, who we had last year and whatnot. So the games that both teams played, they played at a pretty high level. So this was the longest show of the day.
Yep.
So
we're vocal.
Well, normally shows aren't an hour and a half. So this one was a 90-minute show, but it's
Yep.
quality top to bottom. So there's plenty to watch and just laugh and enjoy.
Yep.
I mean, heck, I forget the time limit or the time of some of these games, but
I don't.
there was a game of acronyms that just watching Robin in her closet, like holy cow, like so funny, just really,
Yes.
really funny. Speedy couldn't have been any more speedy with his SoundCloud, whatever.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the most speedy I've ever seen.
And on the other side, I just got to give a nod to Nick, who also played a rapper character early on in the
Yep.
game. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I cannot wait for acronyms, because Speedy did that. I mean, of course we couldn't have known that was going to happen.
Such a subtle thing that maybe even missed in that moment is they played radio where they didn't turn their cameras off.
Right.
And Nick the whole time was listening to his beats, and he was just in his mode. Too often we turn off when we think it's not on us, and we just can't.
And
so we just got to keep going.
Since I gave some love to Nick, I'm going to go ahead and give love to my kids on that too, because in acronyms, they wouldn't stop being their characters, all of them. And yeah, we watched Robin in a closet for 10 minutes. And, you know, I was really proud to watch that because I don't think of acronyms as a punchy game. I just don't. Right. I think the kids did a great job keeping it entertaining, even though it did go awfully long. It's true. And Christian hosted the show, which was, I thought, kind of fun.
Which is pretty rare when a student hosts games. So that was cool. I think him and Kiana are the only two that have done it so far. Kiana from Green Valley. And heck, man, Mia with her Minecraft thing, like
yes.
I am so not video gamey. Like I don't understand any of that kind of stuff. And I understood everything that Mia was throwing out there. So funny, so clear. Yeah, just a good show.
Yeah, Mia's having a great year so far. I'm excited to see how they continue to advance this season. And I will also give one quick nod. I can't tell you how many times I laughed at our evil twin. Can we, I hope,
sure.
I hope we can, I can at least say, go watch Del Sol's Evil Twin this week. It was probably the best I've seen my school done in my 5 years with them. And that is saying something.
Yeah. So, the twins swagger was there. Their swapping swagger was just clear and evident.
Yeah, you could tell they've worked together for 4 years. Mia and Robin, I'm very proud of what they did. Oh, I thought it was sliding down behind me. It's definitely the next matchup, and it is, oh, there it is. It's Cimarron and Centennial. Welcome back to our defending champs.
Yep.
So nice to see you.
Cimarron was the defending champ, had the bye the first week. And the Monday night show for this week that got your music video in it, which we didn't talk about at all last week, which maybe we should in a minute. After we're done with shows from a hat, at least. Anyway, so Cimarron did graduate a bunch. So a lot of that championship team is now in college and so on. But they do have some returners and some newbies. Yeah. They also pull the Del Sol where they rotated extra people. So not just the same four. Man, I don't know what it is. Like, you know, Warren, Cimarron since day one has always had just these strong kids that is, I mean, I hate to use the word steroids, but there's just some weird strength that they have.
Yeah. There's a certain thing about secondary thinking that they grasp better than most of the schools in the league, I would say. And it's year by year. It's like somebody just refuels their, hey, but can you look at it this way? Right. And they're just throwing out fun perspectives. So I'm glad to hear that culture's still alive and well. Justin's definitely the right coach to keep that moving forward. And Althea, I mean, as a captain, I know that she brings some really cool alternative perspectives. I mean, she's a product of Coach Alex Keene and Coach Justin Green. And you can't think of two more interesting brains to combine. So, and I'm sure she's finding her own texture to her work. Was she in this week's show?
Yep, she was.
Thank God, or I just wasted a lot of time talking about her.
Yeah, if you want to see Althea at her best, watch press conference. She was the one guessing, and it was a really good example of how to guess and just be bold and make bold guesses, and how much that boldness turns into comedy.
Yep.
But just the teammates too, man. Like there's a lot to talk about there. Fernando, way to go, man. Like, where did you come from? Brianna, I'm loving this Brianna right now. Love. Bentley, man, you are something else. So yeah, loving everything there. And then flip over to Team Adorable, and the entire time, I'm just sitting here going, how are you guys like this?
Right. Yeah.
How are you guys like a unit? And even in the most like, there's a moment or two in the show where I'm going, okay, clearly you guys are losing context or we're forgetting storyline or something. But if you aren't the most adorable, like, ridiculous
Pump
team.
the brakes, Kopy. We get it. These kids know how to pull your heartstrings.
Yeah, I love it. I love watching them play. Love it.
Well, it sounds like every school already has its own texture so far. You know, if you really think about it, everybody's doing slightly different improv digitally. So we're creating our own digital cultures too, guys. Give yourselves those kudos, because if you can still come across as so engaging as Team Adorable does, for Kopy to continue to name you that openly, then, you know, you guys are really figuring this out. And I can't wait to see what you both as schools do to take that next step, whether you're defending your championship or you're trying to out-cute the rest of the league. Keep bringing it, guys.
I'll give one small centennial plug at least. Kyle really impressed me with growth in this first show. Last year, Kyle very wildfire, but had some discipline in this show. Like just that made me really happy to see. So at least give it at least one plug there.
It's a fun thing about improv, guys. It's a lot harder to get stuff out of you as coaches. It's wonderful to have a student who comes in ready to burn the world down, because then at least you can point out how to avoid burning the world down while still providing good improv. So rearing you back is the hard part for us, and we're glad to have those kinds of students. So great to hear there's some wildfire over there, and let's just keep on rocking. The next scene or game that I just pulled out of a hat was our other Monday show, LVA and West Tech.
Yeah. So so LVA, I'm going to say, officially has Bash Brothers. Elliot and Eli have some weird bromance of Bash Brotherness where they are hard to contain. Like, Elliot is not the same Elliot we met 2 years ago. And Eli fuels that fire. He pushes that button, man.
I believe it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they were in this one together. I was excited to see Talia, to see where Talia's at in her growth. Sedona was new. This was Sedona's first show. A really fun, goofy game of slow-mo. If you want to see some good stuff, LVA did.
Okay.
And then the other side with West Tech, Song didn't pull any punches, man. Song put 4 students in that can play at a really high level. The West Tech has a pair of twins that they play in the same room together.
Right.
And they play in the same camera. And then Captain Tabs and Maddie, and the 4 of them know how to play and just romance ideas. A solid dating game. Dating games sometimes can be tough to play because it turns into a 20-minute game every time someone plays it. They just had good, concise ideas and things to laugh at. They took my challenge of melodrama. I knew Song was going to go with those 4, so that turned out to be one of my challenges.
Yeah.
And melodrama's at the top of the list of difficulty.
Right.
So in week 2, boom, and in their first show, because they had to buy the first week.
Well, we did melodrama with Tabs back in the Jest previews. Was round 2 a little bit more cohesive with what you'd hope to see?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yay! I mean, they definitely worked on it. A lot. The mistake that I say every student makes, they didn't make, which is yeah. So clearly they worked on it and they really prepared to do that.
You mean they didn't move too much?
No, that 10-second break that no one can get to, they got to it every time.
Good for you. You must have been real proud to see that.
Yep.
Cool. Was it funny?
Oh, for sure. They got a really weird suggestion, and I only equate that to the fact that it's a game that's never played.
Right.
Even us coaches probably don't know how to suggest it.
I have to go see a melodrama that you endorse. That is like, that's the headline of the week. Melodrama played adequately, kids. Like, go watch West Tech pop that out, okay? Like, I'm not even kidding. That's on my go to sleep playlist now. Let's get our last show, and I'm pretty sure, yep, there it goes. It slid right down my forehead. It's Desert Oasis and Las Vegas High.
Yep, awesome. So both teams, I think that, well, Las Vegas needed to take the stand-up note, and they did, for sure.
Yep.
They really happy, really happy to see the week 1 to week 2 on Las Vegas. Anaya's a beast for Las Vegas, former Valley student. But
wonderful to have her still in the league.
Yep. But it trickled down. Metzley, like night and day, week 1 to week 2.
Wow.
Like really night and day. Super happy. Even I forget what the game is, but Metzley came in with this pompadour hairdo, like for whatever the character was, and immediately I started laughing. And then Desert Oasis, when I said to Coach Corey, I want you to go and take over Desert Oasis, because I think the point that Desert Oasis is at, they need a Corey. That was the conversation I had, and I'm so happy because that was one of my right calls. I don't get them all right, but man, this one was right.
Kopy with this, he's like 12 for 7,000.
Yay. Melissa, nice to see you in there. You crack me up. You running into your window in emotional party quirk, emotional party. It's really funny. Lauren, I love it. I love what you're doing, Lauren. Don't stop doing that. Yeah, this was cool to see.
Kopy, you've got a heart out in like 6 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and speed up the tempo. But you did want to talk a little bit about some music video.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, one cool thing about these Monday shows is that there's a music video in front of all of these Monday shows. What that means is just like Monday Night Football or whatever. Are you ready for some football? There is now an improv song that Warren wrote, sang, helped produce, did the video for. He did all of it, and he wrote a verse for every team and every school. So every Monday night show is going to have that music video in front of it, which is just fun to highlight and talk about. And we went out to every single school and filmed in front of it. And yeah, it's a neat, fun little video in front just to help add to the coolness of the Monday shows.
Now, thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to do something new for the league. And, you know, this was all Kopy's idea, guys. And I just decided to take it and see if I could make something into it. And what do you know? I'm kind of proud of what came out. So definitely take a look.
Big thanks to Ricky Sterling, who helped actually produce the music. Special thanks to Corey Shalmy, who was a part of the process of getting this done.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's pretty cool.
Coach Corey, we're going to use your beat that you created in honor of our attempt to do that together. We're going to keep that. I'm sure we'll use it in different contexts. Could be a great to-do rap beat someday.
Yep.
We'll see. But let's go ahead and give out Kopy's props. Those are very important each week. We now allow props into our games now, kiddos. It's a great thing. If you haven't been playing with the stuff in your room that help add to your characterizations, you should. And to kind of drive that home, Kopy is going to continue to give out props to the students, schools, games, and scenarios that made this week all the sweeter to view. What do you got for us on your first prop, Kopy?
Well, we try and do 3. So knowing that I rolled out the red carpet to Shadow Ridge earlier, they're not going to be included in that 3 because I want to highlight it again. I'm so happy you're here. But my 3 props, number 1, I'm going to give to Metzley from Las Vegas High School.
Metzley!
Yes, I was so happy with the turnaround from week 1 to 2. Maybe it was the standing, man. I don't know, but you were at form in this show. You were what I know you're capable of doing, and that made my heart so happy. So Metzley for sure. Big pat on the back.
Good job, Metzley. Number 2.
Brianna from Cimarron.
Yep.
Brianna is such a naturally shy, awkward, tiny human being that she's one of the ones that when words come out of her mouth, I don't know if she like believes that there's words coming out of her mouth.
Right.
now there's a natural goofiness and a natural comfort. And it just makes me think of her 3 years so far and immediately smile about it. So yeah, this was really cool to see just how much she contributed in the show. So really good, Brianna.
Yeah, I remember Brianna from her first year as a rookie, and she was one of the more exciting prospects over at a Western high school team that I was sad to see her leave. That Cimarron team's really picked up some amazing talent, and it's great to hear that she's finding her goofy voice a little bit.
Yep.
And number 3 on the prop scale.
I would go to jail if I didn't talk about Emmy, Durango's Emmy. You guys don't get it. That show, what they did, Emmy playing forward reverse next to Greeny, never knowing it. Just, oh my God. Even her coin toss. Try and watch Emmy's coin toss and not immediately go, whoa, like, holy cow.
I don't doubt it. We've said it for years that Emmy's capable of creating a character bigger than any that we've seen on a Jester's stage at any given moment. Yep. And there's a presence there that she possesses. So I bet with those kinds of talents around her, she really rose to the occasion.
Yep, for sure.
But kudos to Desert Pines for holding their own. Can we just say that?
Dude, I love it. Just loved everything about it.
Great job, Coach Keen over there, because honestly, it takes a special school to not get blown out by a wild card. Not that we saw that last week, but I'm just saying you got to have a good program, and I know he's built a great culture there at Desert Pines. So way to go, Alex. Keep it up. And Kopy, let's jump right into our Kopy's challenge this week. Everybody stood up. Everybody stood up, and we're over the moon for it. And out in outer space, I don't know why I did that. Why don't you tell me what our new challenge is since we've unlocked level 2 of Kopy's priorities?
I know this is going to sound redundant. My challenge is to go watch the Wildcard Desert Pine show.
Okay, fair enough.
It has to be done.
Okay.
If you want growth, if you want to learn, if you want to laugh, it is just top to bottom amazing all the way around. Desert Pines, Sarah and Karen, Jalen, just keep doing what you're doing. If you want to laugh at pantomime, go watch Samantha Elton and Cameron Coleman pantomime. Go watch this show.
As someone who's been, a fan and a coach and an audience member of this league since almost its inception, we're talking about Greeny, Elton, and Cameron Coleman, okay? Like any combination of that, let alone playing with a student in our league right now who deserves that highlight. Like, this is improv you need to see. And by the way, if you've been sleeping on Desert Pines, don't. It's time to watch and pay attention. Yep. So go watch improv, guys. I believe in it, and I'm going to make it a double tough challenge. Get what I did there, Coach Double Tough? Get it? Okay. Anyway.
Now I know we're on our last part, but to show you how much I'm doing, I'm walking into the coin toss for school. So let's do our last question.
That's really so nice of you, by the way, that Will Smith is there and you're ignoring them for our project.
Oh, did you see that? Yeah, maybe Will Smith will join us in a future Just a Recap.
So here we go, guys. Your question of the week, Kopy. We know you've been hard at work these first 2 weeks of improv, editing and editing and editing. We know you're putting in probably about 120 hours getting everything set up, and you're about to do a coin toss with my student as we get ready for our big matchup with Sierra Vista, another school that I'm excited to play with. So here's the big question, buddy. We know you don't drink coffee. I've brought you a vanilla cream coffee at the beginning of a shooting day, and you have thrown it away by the end of it. So we know you don't stay awake via caffeine like some of us. How are you doing this? Where do you get this amazing amount of energy?
I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know what to give you, man. I've always been a to-do list oriented guy, and if I've got something on the list to do, I got to do it.
And there you go. Those are words to live by. This guy's doing something nobody else in the world is doing, and he's doing it for you guys. And that alone gives him the energy to create on this level. So give the man kudos. And remember, write down your list of things to do to start your day, kids, because apparently it might just be the best cup of coffee you're ever going to get. Kopy, it's been a blast. This Just a Preview This Just a Recap is going to wrap up. I've been Warren Sprague. He's Kopy Kopatic. Keep getting your games in, guys. Get ready for week 3. The improv keeps rolling, and so do you, and we're grateful. So from outer space. We'll see you guys in week 3. Bye-bye. Woo!